What's up? I'm gonna react to Brian Keating. Dr. Brian Keating's Did the Big Bang Happen? Referencing this paper by Eric Lerner, who has a record history of disagreeing with the Big Bang, but he's pointing out anomalies with the James Webb Space Telescope. I started reading it, I thought they were pretty interesting things. He points out, for instance, that that the Big Bang assumptions necessitate the existence of ultra-dense galaxies, Mighty Mouse galaxies, meaning where is it? Essentially, some reason, I've never heard this before, the Big Bang suggests that beyond a certain distance, some reason the galaxies should appear larger, I guess, than we're seeing. And what we're seeing shows a more standard, like, size to distance ratio where it suggests they're all the same size. And also just that there's just way more of them than anticipated. There should be less and less as we approach the Big Bang because it started from a hot, dense state and no galaxies yet. So as we approach the Big Bang, there should be less is the idea. So we'll see. I'm curious. That's why I want to watch. Maybe I'll go over here so I'm not blocking his thingamajig here. But he's probably gonna have a more, because the other guy literally already believed the Big Bang did not happen. So he's gonna have a more traditional viewpoint and possibly counter
To
arguments.
say it's completely wrong, even though I'm going to outline 10 reasons why I do think it's wrong. And I want to do that more as a way to describe how to look at scientific popularization and when media claims are made. How do you know if it's clickbait if you're not a professional scientist? There's a famous saying, it might be Carl Sagan, who said, it takes 10 times as much emphasis to refute, I think he said nonsense or BS. We'll keep it clean in case any of my kids come through the room. But it takes 10 times as much energy, let's say, to refute a claim than to
Carry
make a
on.
claim. And yet the claim for such a weighty topic as saying the Big Bang didn't happen, really the onus is on the claimant, not on
Sorry,
the
guys.
proponents of the
Oh dear.
current paradigm. Doesn't mean the paradigm is entirely correct. I'm going to outline some of the things
Sorry, guys.
in the article that I think they're worthy of further investigation, perhaps. But
It's all in fun, right? Fuck. I know. Fucking
I
A.
want to take this opportunity as, again, my role on this channel and my podcast is to teach you to think as scientifically as possible. If you're a scientist or a non-scientist, if you're a graduate student, I kind of think of this as kind of like office hours and wanting to portray it in a way that anybody can understand and hopefully get insight into the nature of which of these claims are worthy of your attention. Is this just clickbait, in other words? So let's get started. I want to share my screen. This is the first of these live streams.
This ain't clickbait.
I'm going to do another one pretty soon. I'm coming up on the goal I set for this channel way back when I first started, was to get to.
I guess it's clickbait. I mean, it's clickbait in that it's not clickbait. It's like actually not clickbait, which makes you really, at some point when you realize how desirable the click is, it becomes clickbait. I mean, even if it's not advertised to the world, just the mere existence of it is clickbait. I mean, the even the Giza pyramids are clickbait, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. I know they're not clickbait in the same way where it's just like a electronic representation, but they serve a purpose like that to draw attention.
The most important number in all of science, which is to get 69,420 subscribers. We're less than 100 away, I believe, from that very important number, very significant number. So, and then I'm going to shut the channel down. No, I'm not going to do that. I really enjoy this. This is my first kind of AMA style thing that I've done in a while. I will do a proper AMA in the coming weeks, maybe on my birthday in early September. If and when we do hit 70,000 subscribers, that'll be fun. And so I hopefully you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions, and I'll let you know about that. But for now, I was alerted to this by someone very, very well known in the media, but not entirely liked by everyone on this channel, who asked me if this is real, or should I take this article, "The Big Bang didn't happen or never happened. Should I take that seriously?" So I want to first call up the paper. Or the article, rather. And this is in IAI News, which is the Institute for Art and Ideas. There's a link in the video description below. So click on that. Click on a thumbs up if you're interested in learning more about this, too. Just give me some encouragement. And so I'm going to zoom in on the article. Let's see if I can do this. This is a new computer. There it is. So you guys can all see that, I hope. And I'll scan through the article in real time. So the claim by Eric Lerner, who is a well-known person, even though I didn't really know much about him, he is the president and chief scientist of LPP Fusion. And he is the author of a very similar titled book to this article called "The Big Bang Never Happened." Now, that was one of my first kind of, I won't say warning signs, but sort of maybe a red flag that came in. And that was, whether or not we
Why should that matter?
can really say there's complete lack of interest in a personal sense from this particular individual.
Same though, right? It's just insane. They're a human. It's not relevant. We gotta get past that.
So, I'm not going to
I agree, though, that it does suggest that it's more likely to be less of a wow moment than if it were to be like Lawrence Krauss, let's say. If I heard him say, "Oh, wow, the Big Bang never happened," I'd be like, okay, why the hell did he say that? But if someone's already saying it, it does make it less or more likely to be less significant of a point, like maybe a stretch. More likely to be a stretch because, like, in order to get people who truly believe that the Big Bang happened to recognize it did not, it's gonna take such a surprising observation. I'm not sure if the observations we make with this telescope can't find some explanation to excuse it away. We'll see. Let's
speculate on why or why not he would write this to, is it to sell a book? Is it to
share his viewpoints?
Get attention for something. But you always have to ask, are there non-scientific
Like his viewpoints?
motivations at work? So we'll take a look through the article, and we'll ask ourselves, about the underlying claims and if they have merit. And I think that's the sense. I have about 15, 20 minutes before I have to go take care of a kid who may or may not pop through the door at any moment. So I'll move the door camera away. And I'm a little bit under the weather, so I hope you guys appreciate this. I do want you to say so.
It's freaking.
Stay tuned on Sunday. I'm putting out a feature length video, a 30-minute video, part of a 30-minute thesis conversation.
Pardon me, Dr. Keating. I know I just am crazy to most of you. Physicists I've reached out to.
That describes how the universe's formation of the lightest elements, the hydrogen in this water, was formed. And that's part of Big Bang nucleosynthesis, which is one of the three
It's funny he would choose water.
major pillars that makes us believe with great insight into the Big Bang's birth.
It's funny he would choose water. It's very likely to have formed in the earth. I'm just saying.
And even the author, Eric, claims that that is true, that the formation of the elements, although he disputes the totality of the elements, he says that actually only one element in particular, and actually it's an isotope of hydrogen, he claims to be evidence for the Big Bang, but everything else is dismissed by him. And that's an isotope of hydrogen called deuterium. I also have a video coming up about deuterium and why it's so important in a video that I'm calling the most expensive water in the universe. Okay, so let's look at this article. Again, this is an IAI. I just did a recent event for them where I described I was a host and moderator between Carlo Rovelli, Eric Weinstein, and Sabina Hassenfelder with a discussion of the reality of quantum mechanics. So I'm affiliated with the Institute for Arts and Ideas, and they've invited me to speak. They actually invited me to speak in September, where Eric is going to be at their Festival of Arts and Ideas, or the How the Lights Gets In Festival. I couldn't make it. Oh, yeah, see, there it is. Eric Lerner will be speaker at our upcoming festival, How the Light Gets In, London 2022. I was invited. I can't make it. Teaching and so forth. So I'll miss out on that. But one of my friends, Priya Naratajan, professor at Yale, she is apparently going to be debating him. So if you're in England, if you're in the UK, make sure you check it out. So the IAI is a well-known, is a well-known project, I suppose, to bring science and artistic ideas to the general public. And so I like them. I support them. I don't work for them. I don't get anything from them except the intellectual satisfaction of debating with friends like Carlo and Sabina and Eric. Anyway, okay. So everyone who sees the James Webb Telescope. Space telescope image of the cosmos are beautifully awe-inspiring. Okay, that's true. And that's not at all predicted by theory. Okay, so there's the first thing. So what they're showing is that these images in cosmology, they're extremely surprising. They're not at all expected. Lots of surprises and not necessarily pleasant ones. One paper's title begins with candid title of begins with the title Panic. Okay, candid explanation. So let's see what is he talking about there? So I mean, panic, that must mean the Big Bang's totally farcical, right? So let's investigate. Let's click on this link and see what does it bring up. Panic at the disks. First rest frame optical observations of galaxy structure at Z greater than 3 with JWST in the SMACS field. This is actually written by the third author, is a former guest on the podcast, Christopher Constable, professor in the UK. Obviously, this is not saying panic, that the Big Bang theory is wrong, as this guy Eric starts off his article, as if to, bring some doubt and dispute, and cosmologists are in a state of panic. No, they're not in a state of panic. This is a joke, a tongue-in-cheek.
Not yet. Not yet. The night is young. It's, a few months since this telescope's even made an observation. Let alone real one that wasn't just a line, the mirrors.
article. And I would be surprised if this actually gets published with the title Panic. It's obviously a reference, a callback to the well-known popular music band Panic at the Disco. So they're just being cute. I think it's kind of funny. And I don't think there's anything wrong with starting a paper like this. Now, what's surprising is that Christopher Consolis is the editor of AppJ, or one of the editors of AppJ, and he may actually have a say and override in this paper's title actually getting published. Okay, so let's just take it for granted that this paper is not about saying that people should panic. They're talking about the surprising result that greater than 1.5 disk galaxies dominate over the overall fraction of morphologies, with a factor of 10 higher number of deaths than seen by the Hubble Space Telescope at these redshifts. Now, why would that be a crisis? Why should that be a problem? Well, according to Eric, the Big Bang didn't happen, so the universe is much, much older. And in the Big Bang model, the universe is only 13.7 billion years
Oh
old.
my god.
Therefore, it shouldn't have enough time to spin up these galaxies into the configurations that they're known as spinning galaxies or disk galaxies. Now, that could be because the previous telescope, Hubble, was not designed to even have the capability to see galaxies at these high redshift. So actually, I think that there's a lot of, there's a lot of, I don't want to say honesty or integrity, but the point is that the Hubble Space Telescope was not capable of seeing galaxies at these high redshifts. So it's not so surprising that when you have a new tool like this, you're going to see things that your other telescope wouldn't have seen. Imagine if, Hubble, using the Mount Wilson 100-inch telescope in Los Angeles, had...
He's just not that interested in the details. This dude is. It's like the difference between watching highlights and like looking at every nuance, critically analyzing. This other guy's like, this is one of the major holes. I already know this is a major hole, and I'm seeing him fucking dig that hole deeper right here. This is not a good sign. Maybe it's not appreciated yet, which is different. I'm not so sure that his points are not valid, though, especially some of the other ones. This one, I mean, maybe he can kind of dismiss it. I would like to see him go into the paper. What does the paper say again? I looked at this. Far more disk galaxies than originally thought with Hubble Space Telescope. Okay, that's not... I see the counter argument that that's not that significant. This implies they've existed in high numbers, large numbers for quite a significant amount of time. This would challenge our ideas about mergers being a very common process, and it might be the case that mergers are only a dominant process for forming the stellar masses of certain types of galaxies, namely spheroids, which have a relatively constant merger fraction at greater than 2.5 redshift at around 10%. I mean, it's certainly not good. It's not like, wow, that affirms. Sometimes that happens where it's like, whoa, fucking boom, it really drives home this is what's going on. But that I mean, at best it's a neutral.
Said, I see so many galaxies and they're so far away from us. And then when the Palomar Observatory in San Diego County was opened up 200 inches, it has 4 times the collecting area. You can see things 4 times fainter or even more. And it's inconsistent with what with what Hubble saw in Mount Wilson? Well, of course it is, because it has more capability. So it's going to have a more finer tooth comb to filter out things that Hubble couldn't see. There's another issue in that he doesn't address, but any proper scientist should address this. Is that the calibration of the James Webb Telescope?
That's just some haters. Haters gonna hate just because we disagree. We're not proper scientists. Like, I mean, I don't know this dude. I still get to say I'm a scientist. I'm sure he's a scientist. Who's Eric Lerner? He's how is he not a proper scientist? I mean, it's just fucking. It's easy dismissal to just be like, eh. Okay. BA in physics. Left after a year. And left due to the mathematical focus. It's, it's literally just like so confusing when we don't even know the nature of reality yet and we're fucking deeply ingrained in math like that. That shows to me that he is a free thinker and not held by the paradigm du jour that is
Is actually a work in.
but yes, maybe he I mean he's still a scientist. He's got a physics degree. He's a scientist. Maybe he's not a the things that make it so like I can't rebut that. It's okay. He's got the things that I got too. Like the only way to persuade someone is for like a identical version of themselves plus with like future knowledge or other knowledge, but also the same knowledge. Being the one to tell them. I don't know. That's what we do to ourselves if we like take that to the extreme. That's all. It's just not important. What's important is what is being said.
Progress. It's not that we have, ultimate confidence in the calibration of it. And now we talk about they're blatantly contradicting the hypothesis of the Big Bang. So that now he also goes in. Let's switch back screens now, back to the paper review. So that's the first thing. So he's trying to sow doubt in the reader's mind, and of course this gets spun up in the press. Oh man, astronomers in chaos, panic. Everything that we thought is wrong. Of course, it's going to get headlines, and he knows this, and it's a little disappointing that so much is being made in the popular press, and that.
It deserves headlines. Fucking so tired of this fucking cheerleader squad approach. If it's not like in accord with what we're already saying, then it's not like, shh, no one should be able to say that. Keep it down.
This when your grandmother or your
I
grandfather.
guess that's just how it goes, no matter if it's the truth or not. So maybe we should get to the truth, and then maybe when we start to really behave like that, we'll find that no one's even doing that because everyone's just fucking being honest
Father starts asking you about these things.
and working together. It's gotta come someday. As I hide in a corner. What are you talking about? I haven't been hiding in a corner. I mean, surely it could have came out of the corner.
Oh, the Big Bang didn't happen. Um, Now these galaxies, what he shows are James WSC galaxies show the same size galaxies near to us. Now, there's nothing quantitative about that. And actually, it's known that in a expanding universe, there will be a minimum size of galaxies. So galaxies can be no smaller than a certain size. And that's called the angular diameter distance. I'll have a video about that someday coming out. But the bottom line is that we don't have any reason to suspect that galaxies should be smaller or bigger than a given size, which is a constant size of about an arc minute or so. And he's saying that it's not at all consistent with what's expected of this. Now, redshifts up to 5, etc. And there was a lot made in the very first couple of days where these data are picked from, and that was saying that galaxies.
He kind of just passed over the smaller and smaller and made it like it was completely irrelevant when it's not completely irrelevant. It actually is just being casually dismissed.
Were made at redshifts of 10 and 20, much higher redshift. Some of those have been retracted. And there is a normal rush to get data out and to get it analyzed, to be the first to make a claim about the existence of galaxies at extremely high redshift, which equates to.
I think he literally thought that this was talking about the up to 20 redshift. This is not what this says. This is talking about, we published results in 2014 based on Hubble's Space Telescope images that shows that galaxies with redshifts all the way up to 5 match the expectations of non-expanding ordinary space. And James Webb Space Telescope show the same thing up to 12. Put another way, the galaxies that the James Webb Space Telescope shows are just the same size as the galaxies near to us. If it is assumed that that the universe is not expanding and redshift is proportional to distance.
Extremely young ages, and of course with Eric Lerner distance. I'll have a video about that someday coming out. But the bottom line is that we don't have any reason to suspect that galaxies should be smaller or bigger than a given size, which is a constant size of about an arc minute or so. And he's saying that it's not at all consistent with what's expected of this. Now, redshifts up to 5, etc. And there was a lot made in the very first couple of days where these data are picked from. And that was saying that galaxies were made at redshifts of 10 and 20, much higher redshift. Some of those have been retracted.
Yeah, exactly. He fucking missed his point there. He literally is referencing, this Eric Lerner is referencing whoever, Ricardo Scarpa, and his work about this. So, I mean, this is just not related to, which is understandable. I mean, it's talking about redshift. There's a 12 there. I could see why. Just literally seeing that 12, I can see why.
And
As
there is
someone who reads paragraphs that way, redshift 12, it's talking about that. I totally see why he did it, but that's not what this is about.
Normal rush to get data out and to get it analyzed, to be the first to make a claim about the.
Exactly, rush to get it out, get the data analyzed, make a claim. Thank you. I appreciate you. Accord.
Existence of galaxies at extremely high redshift, which equates to extremely young ages. And of course, what Dr. Lerner is trying to do here is to criticize the Big Bang for not having enough capacity or enough age to both create galaxies, have galaxy formation, and also have galaxies to start spinning up and have galactic rotation. So, those are legitimate criticisms, and yet we have to first make sure that the calibration between redshift and distance is calibrated. And of course, in his model, what he's doing is doing something that I actually have a connection to, and that is via.
Oh my god! If I got a team of physicists like him fucking throwing shit like this at me, I'm like, oh guys, We gotta work together for fuck's sake. Oh my god, I assure you, I got things to say that matter. I know you're a little confused.
One of my colleagues, two of my colleagues at UCSD. So what he starts with was tiny and smooth galaxies mean no expansion and thus no Big Bang. So he is claiming his model, which is a form of plasma cosmology, we'll get into that in just a second,
Okay.
that
Okay, so he researched this a bit, I guess.
plasma cosmology accounts for how the universe is actually structured. In a plasma
There's no reference to this model yet, though. This is just pointing out, frankly, things that apply to my model where I can be like, yeah, that shit kind of maybe like it's okay in the Big Bang, but it matches well with my model. You do you, though. You guys do you. You guys got it. I know.
model such as his, there is no expansion, and therefore there's no Big Bang. The Big Bang is the inevitable consequence of a universe that's expanding, in that if you trace the clock backwards, you get a universe that's much smaller, denser, hotter than in its current phase. So he's trying to cast doubt on it.
Let's get fuck this system in there. I don't want to just say fuck. That would be ridiculous.
This is what he's trying to do. Uh,
Trying to do or doing? Is- what are you trying to do? I mean, we're all trying to do something, right? You know, so like it's okay if someone's trying. It's just that it's try and counter, which I guess I'm doing the same fucking thing. But that's the thing is like this dude's got maybe he's not like fully worked out the totality of the truth, but he's got points. I don't know what his model is, and I'm kind of curious at this point if he's got a like steady state model kind of potential to propose. I mean, most people don't have an actual tangible explanation for Hubble's law. Most models don't. A lot of them just accept the Big Bang and don't even think about it. But if they do think about it and propose an alternative to redshift, sometimes it's just like, and then redshift, and then this, and then that, and then that, and just like in passing. And so they don't necessarily come up with like the best solution, but just a solution within their model. And other times it's frequently the focus of models as an entry point because it's where expansion of space comes from as a concept. Because we made that observation, we said, oh, space is expanding because all these galaxies are moving away from us faster than reasonable without introducing some mechanism, and we'll call it expansion of space. And it's that's what happened. And they literally introduce a new concept. It's like if tomorrow they're like, there's gravity, electromagnetism. I guess they did it with strong and weak interaction, but like if they add another force, they're just at some point then they add a sixth force and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 59th, 7,000th force. Like that's not how science works. So like the moment, speaking of red flags, he was like, "Oh, there's a red flag," because he said he's the author of the Big Bang never happened red flag. Speaking of red flags, whatever I was just saying, I forgot because I was realizing how conveniently that flowed into this. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Hubble's law plus expansion of space suddenly. Dudes, That's not philosophical whatsoever. Occam's razor disproves that. It literally disproves it. We sit here talking about it like it is, but Occam's razor disproved it the moment it was even considered.
And that's all fine. But he has an agenda. Obviously, he has an agenda that he wants to promulgate his cosmological model. And there's a danger that you'll account anything.
Or his perspective, share his viewpoint.
As
I mean, sure, we all want to shape the world to our viewpoint, and if we believe it to be that much like in need of occurring in a in physics, then like it's a fair thing when it's that's how science works. He's taking it personally. Like that's how life works, is taking things personally. Like if someone's trying to present a new idea, it shouldn't be fucking personal. I guess that's just life. That's part of realizing that science is life is more complicated than science.
as evidence for your theory, and everything as evidence against another theory. So so he's gone on about this merger process and how this has actually not been successful. I should also point out some of the features of his cosmology, which have not changed. So this is point number 3, I think, of my 10. So the first one is that the
Have not. That's a hilarious. Have not changed since like a month ago. Like, dude, he's one person. Even if he's wrong, you got, you know what? No one's gotta keep up with their model. Like at some point, like it's on the rest of the team to pick up the fucking baton. For fuck's sake, like I don't see Lemaitre propagating the Big Bang.
to state the Big Bang never happened and then claim anything like panic in the title is really evidence that cosmology is in crisis because of the title of a paper. I think that's kind of specious, to be honest. It's kind of
Speciesist? God, what is? You using some university fucking politically correct language that's built around brainwashing children. Unknowns to people using it, maybe.
to state the Big Bang never happened and then claim anything like panic in the title is really evidence that cosmology is in crisis because of the title of a paper. I think that's kind of specious, to be honest. It's kind of tongue in cheek, maybe.
What is speciesist? I can't even fucking think of that. What word he's saying? Specious. I have no idea. Like, okay, speciesist. Intolerant or indiscrimination on the basis of species. He's literally fucking pushing this idea away rather aggressively because it's not concurring with the Big Bang's existence.
He's not super serious about it. Who knows? Number
Hey, same man. I don't see this. I don't see a single physicist actually communicating with me. It's ridiculous. I found the theory of everything. Like talk about speciesist.
2, calibration has not been applied. Number 3, he's got an agenda.
It's just life, dude. That's just life. You're me in another life. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget. Gotta remember. Oh, yeah, I'm probably like, oh yeah. We're all fuck.
Model. So his colleagues and
Trying to make a point myself. We're all trying to make points. Unless some, I don't want to say all, but I mean, even there's no way around it. It's just life. Even if you just are an adorable child, just make a point just by being that way. You don't have to be some fucking like Caesar to shape the world. Shit, even aborted babies shape the world. Like, fuck the more we have to look back on how many times we're fucking doing that just because we want to have casual sex. It's fucking insane in some ways. Holy shit. And then take all these like pills. Yeah, maybe our teachers are teaching us about the wrong things. For their own interests, it seems. It is a men's world after all. I feel like men benefit greatly from persuading ladies of a certain nature of the world. I mean, they just do. It's just simple. Oh, fuck it. So, yeah, I got the whatever. Anyway, pardon me. Little sidetrack. That's me. I'm a little preoccupied in general. And sometimes shit comes up, not to make that like a revolution topic, but it does matter. Like casual sex is fucking should not be promoted. It just shouldn't even like the how fucking amazing would it be if children just didn't even become acquainted with that until they just became acquainted with that? Like, why do we gotta fucking be like, okay, now's the time. Like, okay, open a chapter two. Like, it's just, and then we push everyone together and just say good luck. And you know what it does? It supports the system. That's what it does. That's what its purpose is. It's not to educate. It's to support the system. Bring you in, get you a good little servant, let you know that you are here to serve. You're a citizen, like it or not. You have no say in the matter. Let's go back to
and
this.
he are
Pardon me.
trying to postulate that you don't need to have a Big Bang to have the structures that we've seen
It's 2 o'clock. I got a while to go. I'm already 40 minutes in. I gotta get
in the
going.
universe since these data have come out. Now, what's interesting is that his model came out in 1991. And that was before even the Kobe satellite data had been released, showing that there were fluctuations in what he calls the
Oh my
alleged or
god,
supposed.
dude. Oh my god, dude. He's just is. That's really this. This makes me feel like this paper actually resonated with him. Like it fucking struck home, struck a chord. I don't know why. Like it was like no, because that's how people react to me. They're like no, but I know it's like if someone just was like proposing some really poor idea, they're just like what like look at this shit. They're not gonna be in any way like fucking heart pumping like oh shit, what just happened? Is that a concern? And like he's a kind of a attacking the model because of his doubt of the Big Bang. It's attacking the overall paper because of his past. It's literally because of the man's past.
A
Valjean at
cosmic microwave
last.
background. Let me see if I can
We
find what he calls it.
see each other
Asymmetries in the
plain.
microwave background that should not exist. Let's see here. That drive cosmic evolution, microwave background phenomena that we observe. Okay, so we're going to get into this topic in just a bit. Can be explained using laboratory. Okay, in other works, he's dismissed the cosmic microwave background completely, saying it is not based on, it's not to be counted as evidence for the hot, dense early phase of the Big Bang.
He's
So he
right.
says,
He's actually fucking right about that. It's bullshit that you guys get away with that. Fucking casual as fuck. Oh yeah, that's proof. Oh my god, you guys. Fucking ridiculous. Don't even realize you just have like the bully fucking perspective on the block. Just numbers. Nothing more. And when I say that, I mean not truth. It's not like you're fucking leaning on like a solid, stable ground of truth. It's just numbers. So many people, so many dollars involved. It's not just voices, it's like who's got control of what's being said. They certainly don't want to hear me fucking speak. Oh yeah, theory of everything found. Hooray! Uh, fuck the system? What? Like they don't want me to speak, so I'm not allowed to speak until I just break through. Someone's like, fine. He's got some fucking points. Maybe they're all not that great, but some of them probably should be acknowledged, accounted for. Maybe not so begrudgingly, but it's gotta be because how else could it be done?
that have existed before the Big Bang. I mean, nobody's claiming that existed in the Big Bang model, although there are models, as we talked
Pardon me.
about a month ago with Anna Aegis, the bouncing cosmology.
I'm playing a character. I guess I am. Maybe like Alex Jones, Bill Hicks died when Alex Jones was born. Maybe. I'm starting to see his possibility more and more. As in, after a 30-minute video. It was pretty fucking interesting video, though. Like, wow. Like, his teeth actually do look kind of similar. I mean, it does look like they could not be, also. There's discrepancies, but he's friends from childhood with someone who's friends from childhood with Bill Hicks. Very strange. Many things. It was interesting. So thanks for that echo. I was linked it in stream.
There are structures and structure formation, isocurvature fluctuations, things like that that can take place in so-called bouncing or cyclic models. He's dismissing those completely. He doesn't believe in a cyclic model. Okay, so just as there's the Big Bang, if the Big Bang hypothesis were valid, theorists should expect that JWST looked farther out in space and back in time. There should be fewer and fewer galaxies and eventually none. A dark age in the cosmos. Well, okay, so there is a dark age in the cosmos, and it's before the earliest galaxies that are shown in the JWST data. So there are blank
Oh
spots in
my
the cosmic.
god, what a fucking cop out that was. Wait till he reads this 100,000 times as many as theories predicted and just says, well, because the telescope is better. Even though I imagine the theories are for the telescope. I mean, maybe not. They're probably just based on data, based on telescopes, so we can see further, so I mean it can see closer to the Big Bang. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, obviously, the limit of our perception is limited by the technology and not the universe. I guess this is just teaching me things. Everything is for that, I guess. In some ways, I look at it like that. In some ways, I look at it like you probably think I'm insane.
In the cosmic web. In fact, what he dismisses completely as the result of what's called a cosmic screening, we'll talk about that in just a bit. Um, that cosmic microwave background is a dark. There are no galaxies when the CMB is produced at 380,000 or 370,000 years after the Big Bang. He can't explain that. So there are actual blank spots in the cosmic structure formation history. Now he's saying, while Big Bang theorists were shocked and panicked by these. So again, he's equating like all these theorists. By the way, the papers that were published with that title.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little. It's exaggerating something that sincerely is concerning.
Or I was submitted. It's not published, and I think it's very. You have to be very careful if
It's
you're a
just
good
putting
scientist.
emotion to it. Science, it's kind of like it makes me think of working at the patent office. Like, people did not want me to fucking reject their patents. I don't want to deal with that shit, but it's just a fucking legal conversation. Notice of rejection. Here's the why. They respond. Here's our rebuttal and our changes if we made any. Maybe they just say, go fuck yourself and appeal. There's a process. But there's no emotion that's displayed in the words and language because it's technical writing. This shit, like, science is this is a little casual in that regard, but understandable. Like, no one's paying attention, so you gotta get a little like louder in some ways, and maybe the ways we get louder are not the most appropriate. Maybe the best way of getting louder is to just get more energetic, focus on ourselves energetically more, to become a higher energy system, to then just simply be more capable of being like having people desire to listen to our perspective that we have. I mean, because essentially when we go with the flow of society, we ourselves are not like fucking it's like the difference between birds chirping outside, hanging out, and walking through a fucking sandstorm for a decade. Like, one of them wears you fucking down. Where you start doing shit like, dude, sell out. This Big Bang didn't fucking happen.
So I'm
That's what
saying
he's
this to my
saying. He's like, they don't comprehend this Big Bang didn't happen. But because he didn't discover, I'm sure, how gravity can cause all distant redshifted galaxies. That is the portal in. It's just the portal in.
students and to people that want to know how to assess both publicly disseminated information and actual scientific data. You have to be very careful with what you.
Which is because distant galaxy, the light from it does not. The light from distant galaxies does not travel in a straight line. It travels in a figure eight orbit about the great attractor. And then after many times through, or none if it's close, if it's nearby, it doesn't have all distant redshifted galaxies. It has blue shifted dichotomy and red shifted on blue shift red shift dichotomy locally, but all distant redshifted galaxies is because it has to go through the figure eight and then the great attractor, which is basically the next octave up of objects beyond those that we've recognized, that's massive enough to influence the light from all distant galaxies to bend it towards it, through it, and out the other side, it then is redshifted by the gravity because it has to basically move away a certain distance and back the same distance, which is canceled, but then it has to move from one side of the orbit to the other side of the orbit, which is always an away motion because it's orbital motion, and so it produces a redshift, redshift, redshift per distance, and then it arrives at Earth from any angle, and then we're like, look at that galaxy there, and that's our story of how we look at these galaxies, and then we plot them in space and are like, wow, that looks like a brain, all the while not in any way accounting for that there is large-scale gravitational lensing of light occurring. We're just like, nah, it's probably trivial amounts. It's probably irrelevant amounts. The light's pretty much traveling in a straight line.
Quote, what you accuse people of believing. And you have to be extremely careful of how you account and what you're considering people to be. So first of all, the paper that's published, a panic.
Shit, are you guys fucking all in on this Truman Show thing? And you're just fucking watching me be an asshole. Building, digging your own grave, buddy. Fuck, really though.
Those are not theorists. They are not theorists. They are observers. So not.
Pardon moi? This is this elitist shit, name calling and this differentiating, and only those with the certain names can say the things is fucking ridiculous.
People of believing, and you have to be extremely careful of how you account and what you're considering people to be. So first of all, the paper that's published, a panic. Those are not theorists. They are not theorists. They are observers. So not understanding.
Pardon me, that was rude then. That was rude. These are observers. Observers. Carry on. It's just fucking nitpicking something that doesn't actually fucking matter.
Who you're talking to and what the data and what they're representing. It's as egregious as going into an Apple store and asking for a Samsung phone. It demonstrates a lack of professional courtesy, let me just say. And we'll see.
He's literally fucking doing a reaction video. Oh my god, I love you guys.
Later that Eric, Dr. Lerner, he is no stranger to making accusations against the scientific community, which is another one of my warning signs, the 10 warning signs. So they're saying they're shocked and panicked. Nobody's been panicked about these new.
Oh, so because he's pointed out shit that you people ignore, and you ignore it, now he's displayed a warning sign. That's how this bullshit fucking that's how I haven't been fucking listened to yet. Is the fucking shit like that? Oh, it's him again. Excuse me, motherfuckers. This fucking behavior. I'll do the same shit right here. Fuck the system. Revolution. Infowars.com. Oh my god, Alex Jones. Fucking his interviews too funny. He's just fucking yelling Infowars.com. I'm like, oh my god.
Results.
I love
Again,
it.
he is creating.
Even if he's a fucking controlled opposition insider, Bill Hicks, oh my god, it's hilarious when he's fucking shouting at someone. Infowars, Marco Rubio, and the BBC interviews, highly recommend. Oh my god.
Creating a false narrative that people are a crisis, and that luckily
me.
we have his model, which, by the way, has been around since before many of you were born that are watching. Certainly any of my students.
That's too bad that we don't know about that, really, because no one wants to talk about alternatives. Oh yeah, we're pretty much there. we're pretty much there as long as none of these ideas get taken seriously and just get belittled. Pick at every fucking detail when they're a single individual versus a fucking generations of collectives. What the fuck?
That are watching.
It's literally not fucking fair.
1991. So it's a 31-year-old paper, a book that he has been.
I guess same. Maybe I should not be reacting. I know better, even if.
Continually harping on, and that book was written before the
I love you guys.
discovery, 7 years before the discovery of dark energy, a year before the Kobe results were announced. And yet, as new data have
Dark
come,
energy, which just dark energy just further disproved the Big Bang because it said, "Oh, we were wrong. I guess something's making this space accelerate faster. Well, we'll call it dark energy, and that's the discovery. It's not a discovery. It's a patch of on a sinking ship that didn't really patch anything. It was like cotton. Like, dudes, this is a ship. You don't patch a sinking ship with some fucking porous ass material like dark energy. What is it? We don't know. Literally can't fucking grab anything. It's just fucking two words that are cool together. Dark energy. Whoa, that's pretty fucking cool idea. Dark matter. Whoa, that's fucking cool. I mean, it's just cool at that point. It's not anything dark age. A little frightening.
before many of you were born that are watching, certainly any of my students that are watching. 1991. So it's a 31-year-old paper, a book that he has been continually harping on. And that book was written before the discovery, 7 years before the discovery of dark energy, a year before the Kobe result.
Bravo, though, also, because dark energy just it literally adds further evidence that the Big Bang is false. Because of Occam's razor. Okay, ignore redshift. Ignore redshift. Take every other observation, and there's no Big Bang. Suddenly throw in redshift. Oh, expansion of space. Throw in further redshift observations. Oh, dark energy. Maybe the fucking mistake is the interpretations of the redshift. I mean, it's not really that complicated of a situation. It's clearly there. It could be a mistake. If so, there could be other explanations. Maybe we should consider other explanations if the interpretation is causing us to add new complexity and then another new complexity, and then like to take it as. I mean, that was just it literally just makes it gives more merit that he was aware the Big Bang didn't happen even then. So maybe his voice is pretty fucking like he's aware of shit. Maybe he says theorist there and like is kind of broad stroking, not giving a shit about who they are, who the source is, more just looking at what they're saying. Oh, that matches my little search. It says panic. Fucking this paper even says panic on it. This one's for sure one that I will write about. That doesn't mean there's not fucking problems here, like problems.
Were announced. And yet, as new data have come in, there's been absolutely no new progress in this model. It's just the same model that's been recycled since the time of a man by the name of Alfvén. And so we'll talk about that. Let's go down here. So,
I mean, that really is up to people to participate. I've said that before. I'm fucking done. You guys fucking take it from here. I don't give a shit anymore. Fuck you. How about that? This is where I stop. Does that mean the model's invalid? It doesn't mean a fucking thing. We can still consider Einstein's model. He's not fucking working on it. Oh, he's got a team. See how that's how it goes. Is if you got a team of associates working on your shit after you die, then it's you got a good chance of holding on strong. If you're trying to propose some shit and you in any way go back to doing other things, no one's fucking helps you. Look at this. He hasn't even worked on it since then. Proof positive he's wrong. Look at this. He didn't account for dark energy, even though it's actually just an increasing rate of redshift per distance, which could be explained by other mechanisms. But hey, we'll add new mechanisms to the underlying nature of reality just offhandedly. Sure, there's also these things.
So what he talks about here is cosmology in crisis. You see all these different references, etc. Until the past 3 years, if a researcher could self-fund cosmology research as
I love you
asylum, as
guys.
in the case with me, they could still publish heretical papers. So this brings me to a fifth or sixth point that I always like to make a point. You should never accuse scientists of being a cabal, of acting and that there's censorship going on. I joke with my students, never compare yourself to Einstein and never compare yourself to Giordano Bruno, who, of course, was burned at
And what if you are comparable?
the stake for his truly
Then, oh, don't. Oops, you made the fucking cardinal sin of speaking facts into people who don't want to hear it.
heretical ideas. Heretical to the Catholic Church in the year 1600, he was burned at the stake. Now, why shouldn't you do that? Well, I think a lot of times you try to conflate your ideas with the ideas of people that were persecuted. I often get arguments like this mailed to me. Professor Keating, I have this new idea for a cosmological model. Everybody's wrong. I know you might think I'm crazy. They thought Einstein was crazy, but look what happened with him. So if you help me, the implication goes, then I will help you and we'll split the Nobel Prize. So the conflation is always between someone great or someone who is persecuted for heretical ideas. It's very loaded terminology. It's not proper scientific terminology, and it's hard to take it seriously. I wouldn't take him super seriously at this point, other than the fact that
He's. I haven't watched Brian Keating, Kurt J. Mungle, Lex Friedman, several and several podcasts I just stopped listening to because they don't fucking respond. They don't interact with me, and I try to interact with them, and they're in positions where they could actually interact with me, but they choose not to. And then like what he just said, that's kind of why.
someone great or someone who is persecuted for heretical ideas. It's
Like he has no idea how persecuted I am by just being fucking ignored. You ever see the fucking rice and water where they say I love you, I hate you, and ignore it? Oh my god. Don't blame me when I explode.
very loaded terminology. It's not proper scientific terminology, and it's hard to take it seriously. I wouldn't take him super seriously at this point, other than the fact that he has every right to make legitimate claims and concerns against the Big Bang, but he's clearly advocating a position that he has held unwaveringly.
Yeah, a position that's true, dude. Maybe not the fucking totality of his position, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this paper where he says the Big Bang never happened. True.
Since 1991, despite all the new evidence that's come out for the cosmological model, despite dozens or half a dozen Nobel Prizes that have gone to what's called the standard
They literally went off the path at the first fucking step of redshift interpretation and have strayed so fucking far that it's impossible to actually like walk back to that point and be like, where are the other ways we could possibly go? Surely there's no other ways in this world that has many paths. It's like we're in a fucking Mario game and the only way to go is forward. Just fucking go. Like, dude, we fucking have got to go back there. That is where we fucking made a wrong turn. Are you fucking guys listening? You're not. That's why he's saying these words that are just like maybe not the most ironed out by because he's fucking divided. They divide us now. He's known as a doubter, as a denier. It's just like fucking climate change. Pick your fucking teams, even though there's a one truth. And it ain't the majority, dude. It's the underdogs. If you're like on the fence somewhere about like which one is probably what's going on. Let's see. What does the majority think? Yeah, yeah. It's probably that much.
Model of cosmology, namely that the universe it has been expanding for over 13.7 billion years, and it's predicated on
It literally could be 0 years old equivalent next to eternity. Like that literally is zero time. It's silly. It's which makes it equivalent to 6,000 years. Which is like, science kind of denies that. So like because it's silly to science, so like isn't 13.8 billion years really equally as silly? Especially when it all hinges on redshift being interpreted as caused by some form of motion, in this instance of Hubble's law. Sure, Doppler shift exists, but that doesn't mean expansion of space does. Not the same thing, yet somehow kind of the same mechanism. Just the only difference is that in this instance, it's Doppler shift. In that instance, it would break the laws of physics as Doppler shift, so it's expansion of space. And there's this convenient line, we'll call it Hubble's law, even though it's actually a correlation and it's not a fucking law. Because guess what? It doesn't stay as a line, it goes exponential. And because it's not a law, but was just a correlation to begin with, we're like, well, what are we going to do about this? It looks like the rate of expansion of space is accelerating. Something is doing it. What could it be? Anyone, any ideas? The Big Bang is wrong, not him. Dark energy? Good. That one. Fucking shut up, everyone. Dark energy. Let's let the world know in 7 press conferences. Dark energy has been discovered. Is it? Could it be? And then get mad at people who try to actually share their viewpoint because their objective is to make money or to do this other thing that's not to share their fucking viewpoint. And then therefore their viewpoint doesn't get considered because we gotta consider the viewpoint we've already considered for a fucking century. That's really got us somewhere.
3 pillars of that need to be explained in his model or any other alternative. And I did a wonderful episode with my friend Garrett Lewis.
They don't need to be explained by the theorist. They can be explained by other theorists like the Big Bang does. There's lots of observations out there. You can't expect every single thing to be explained by the theorists. Sure, the theorist should be able to like at the exposure to the thing maybe have a solid line of reasoning to hypothesize towards potentials in certain instances, but like to say that a model should explain any specific thing is really, eh, eh. It's like, to me, maybe redshift, because it is so central to what we believe now. But other, like, that's why it's important. It's not because redshift is important. It's because redshift leads to important things: expansion of space and dark energy, if they exist. But they don't exist, so they're important shit that stem from an important observation, but that doesn't mean that it's more important than everything else to the point where it shapes the totality of the universe. Like, oh shit, the space is expanding, dudes. Here I was thinking, like, the laws of motion made sense. Like, I don't seem to be expanding. It's not local, it's only at large distances. They don't really explain that. It's because local galaxies have blue shifted. That's why. They don't really have a good explanation for that in the Big Bang model. But
Yes.
if if there's an object like the Great Attractor causing light to travel in a figure eight orbital, and the Milky Way is like over here, and that object's like over here, then like the galaxies in that direction are going to have the light moving away from it, but then the ones in the opposite direction, it's going to be a blue shift, but then like at a long enough distance, it becomes part of the figure eight orbital, which is its magnetic field, which is why this is definitely what's happening, because it causes the magnetic field of the Great Attractor. Whereas what they're saying, what he's defending, is that space expands and dark energy exists. That's what redshift leads to, is by interpreting it to be caused by motion, it leads to adding expansion of space and dark energy, which is not Occam's razor philosophical simplest answer is more likely to be true. It's actually adding complexities, expansion of space and dark energy. Whereas by explaining it by a gravitational redshift based and the gravitational lensing combination of a figure eight orbital, that of the Great Attractor causing an actual redshift on the light with its travel, then it doesn't need expansion of space, because then it's being caused by gravity. No need for expansion of space. And because it also, again, is caused by gravity, it doesn't need dark energy. So I'm just thinking if I want to go into that. Like, I believe, because essentially as the light is redshifted, it becomes more redshifted and just is more easily redshifted per distance in the figure eight orbital at that point, because its relative mass ratio differs enough at that point, with the part of me using your head as the Great Attractor. It differs enough to cause variation in the rates of redshift per distance. That's one thought I have, or it changes the physical distance of the figure eight to basically cause more redshift per distance. So essentially, like, there's that one is an example of something that I don't actually know which one it is, but I know there are explanations within gravity, and I also know that this explanation explains how gravity causes magnetic fields and therefore merges the fundamental forces. People are like, gravity's weak. I'm like, dude, I'm saying it merges because it's one ray of light, one galaxy ray of light, let's say, is not the totality of the magnetic field of this object. It's all of them combined. And so, like, when one particle is next to this huge object, people are like, well, and I say it's moved in a figure eight orbital. They're like, well, gravity's weak. I'm like, yeah, but this is one fucking particle in a river of particles that the summation causes this collective force we call magnetism, which is stronger than gravity. You're right. But you guys don't understand. You're not fucking grasping what I'm fucking laying down because you think you understand, but you don't. That's the fucking truth.
And Luke Barnes, about 2 years
I'm sorry. I know I'm an asshole. I'm probably wrong as fuck too.
ago now, called the Cosmic Revolutionaries Handbook. And such a treatment says that if you have a revolutionary new idea, here's the list of things you have to overcome. In other words, you have to explain everything that's explained currently and more. You have to make new predictions.
Everything. Do you know how many people like the literally the undue burden? It would literally take one person, thousands of lives, and oh, God knows how much money to fucking fund and do the fucking like it's literally just not fucking thought through. People are like, well, what you want to propose a better fucking model? Well, then you gotta explain this. Oh my god, dude, with the fucking list of things that need explained, like fucking participate. Consider this path. Do it as like a just for the sake of it, you know, like fuck, just to say we did it, you know. What, you guys fucking making breakthroughs all the time or what? And it seems like you guys are a little stuck. Hate to be a bearer of bad news. There's a fucking a lot to go after physics. That's just one fucking. That's like a stepping stone. Geology is pretty important and fucking awesome and understandable for physicists in ways that would make it exciting. All the potentials. Oh my god, physics of consciousness. There's so many things that are just right at our fingertips, but still require getting through the door of the theory of everything. It's like that. It's that. It's that one hoop that needs to be gone through. You gotta go through the hoop. Sorry guys, I know society is all about going through hoops, and I'm like, fuck the hoops. And then I myself went through a hoop, the zero hoop, the nothing hoop. Just went right through it and out the other side. And now I'm like, hello? Like, what is that fucking sound? Someone talking? I can barely hear him. Like, hello? Fucking wall shatters. Oh, hello.
Otherwise, you're just adding on epicycles. So the question is, does his model explain more than the so-called standard model? The standard model of cosmology features a Big Bang, features dark matter and dark energy. Do we know what those are? Nope, we don't
Mine does.
know what those are. We didn't know what 90% of the periodic table was
Oh my god, mine explains orders of magnitude more.
until the last 80 years. So I don't think that's a true criticism. It doesn't mean that we'll never know it. Now, if we never have any insight and we just get stuck in a rut and just keep looking for the same exact thing, yeah, you could criticize it. He doesn't believe in dark matter.
Could? Oh my god, that's literally what's happening. Doesn't believe in dark matter. That's actually, yeah, probably not actually real because it's so simplified. It's dark matter literally stems from the fact that galaxy rotation curves are designed under an assumption that if the width of the screen is a width of a galaxy and his eyeball is the center, that the distance here per eyeball width is the same as the distance out here per eyeball width, but it's not, because the black hole at the center of galaxies hides distance within this region in a way that we have not accounted for, that when we then just basically say across the radius of the galaxy, and then at this radius outward, the rotation is. So at this radius, the rotation is oddly the same as at this radius. It's almost as if there's a fucking hidden distance at the center that hasn't even been considered. That would explain it, and maintain Newtonian calculations in ways without modifying or requiring any like dark matter. Because dark matter is kind of fucking weird and does seem a little too like convenient. We only can tell by gravity. That's it. That's the only way.
He doesn't believe that the universe is expanding, let alone that
It's definitely not expanding.
the expansion is accelerating, for which we have
Definitely not.
copious evidence.
We have evidence of an accelerating rate of redshift per distance, but redshift is can be caused by gravity. And so, if someone can explain how redshift of all distant galaxies, according to Hubble's law, can be caused by gravity without adding expansion of space, then it is therefore more likely. And if they also explain simultaneously and inadvertently, mind you, how gravity causes magnetic fields, then I mean it's not even a debate.
He doesn't believe this cosmic microwave background is cosmic. He doesn't believe in the redshift.
I don't have a personal opinion on the cosmic microwave background that's like solidified. It's very foggy, just like the background. In many ways, I think maybe it might be more like a galactic halo of a larger scale, but maybe not. I'm not sure.
Of galaxies, and he doesn't believe that the most of the lightest elements in the periodic table were formed during a hot dense phase of the universe, because there was no hot dense phase of the universe. So he has to form those in very exotic scenarios. And he's been doing this, as I said, for so long now, almost over 3 decades, that some people have actually criticized it. And we can look at the errors in this. This is a wonderful website that you should always look at.
Jesus Christ. No support, just fucking tear shit down. That's just how we behave, I guess, because I'm doing the same fucking thing. And I ain't gonna stop because I'm fucking right.
Run by my friend.
So
And
you guys fucking make your websites bashing my shit when you can. Any publicity is good publicity until the world collapses by misrepresentation of what I have to say, because people are fucking too busy being liars and defending their lies. Because that's what this world is gonna do, is fucking blame me when the lies come out, because I pointed them out too loudly, too firmly, too absolutely, too clearly, too concisely, too precisely, too unequivocally, and with just too much just science.
professor colleague at UCLA, and his name is Ned Wright. And Ned Wright has a whole web page dedicated to this, and it's called.
I mean, the same for the Big Bang. Are we gonna fucking acknowledge those? There's so many of these that are not errors in learner, but errors in the Big Bang. Like, so many of them.
Errors in the Big Bang never happened. And so he first goes through the criticisms of the Big Bang.
Although maybe not anymore. I don't know. Shit's scrubbed off the internet. They probably want people to fucking believe things that are false.
Errors and alternatives to the Big Bang, and then miscellaneous errors. So back then, I forget when this paper.
I guess maybe they should. I'm an asshole. I'm like killing people's fucking dreams. Here's facts. Just lay them out. I know you've been busy doing shit counter to this. That's alright. I know it's still beneficial to you, so I'm not even gonna feel that bad.
Paper came. This website rather came out. Let's see. Let me scan down to the. So this hasn't been modified since 2003, and a lot has happened since 2003, including the Nobel Prize for the discovery of dark energy by past guest Brian Schmidt and.
Well, this is reasonable to not be edited.
Adam Reese. You should look for episodes by them. on this channel.
I mean, it's a fucking critique. Someone comes along and bashes someone, they don't fucking stick around. They're like, fuck yeah. Next.
So even at this time, there was enough to dispute in this this proposal by Lerner. So now we're criticizing the critique, the alternative model. It's one thing to criticize a model. It's another thing to come up with another model that doesn't do as good a job as the model that you're disputing. So, and oftentimes one of the signs that you're dealing with somebody whose motives may not be aligned with what you are looking
Motives.
for, which is the ultimate scientific truth, is that they not only prove somebody else
Is he reading? I'm trying to find if he's reading.
wrong, but they also want to prove themselves right. And it's very difficult to do either one of those, let alone both of those. So, so he goes through, and even back then, he was talking about how hard it was to make clusters of galaxies at large times. So he's still saying that in this IAI paper, right? So he's saying, to give an example, 150 million light year sheet of galaxies. This is in his book. So he's talking about superclusters and how could superclusters form.
Why is this on a fucking college website?
This is in 2003. Ned Wright is dismissing.
Just trash talking on a college website. Not an official paper. Aren't you scientists? What, you're not gonna have a fucking science peer review conversation? Here's our critique. Like, what is this? This is how they deal with people who they don't agree with. Is they don't give them fucking spotlight. They do it in shady ways, where it's like this fucking, you save $1,000 per year for 50 years. Like, what in the fuck is this? This is not like this is just fucking casual. If you're gonna come casually discredit someone, don't fucking bother, because it's fucking casual and it's fucking rude. This dude literally spent 30 years of his life doing this, and he's fucking getting casual rebuttals by fucking people at college campuses thinking they got the fucking position, so they do know their rights, so they can fucking be all, and it's fucking not true though. And now they're just fucking, it's just like, dude, at least like all anyone really wants is their points to be accounted for. Be like, oh, okay. That dude said some shit. Hey guys, that dude said blah blah blah. Those are some points. Those are some shitty points. Okay, this other person said blah 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 blah. Well, I mean, oh my god. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's his life's work. And he's not, like, alone. I mean, he is alone. Not in a fucking team space where he's necessarily, I don't know his situation exactly funding wise. Finding funding to counter the fucking free flow funding of just the more of the same is fucking impossible.
The 1991 book by Lerner of almost the same name. Structures take too long to grow. Learning value of 1,000 kilometers a second and
just handouts. Like, can you find something maybe? Sure, $1,000,000 for this. Yeah, we got $1,000,000 to do what? Blah 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 blah. Well, I mean, we gotta pay ourselves a little bit.
75 million light years. H naught, which is the,
I mean, it's just fucking, people don't understand how imbalanced shit is.
expansion rate of the universe today, we find perfect agreement as long as omega, which is the energy density of the universe, is close to 1. Now, in 2003, when Ned Wright was writing this, we had already measured that omega was close to 1. But in 1991, we had.
Why did he use Hubble's value of 50? Not that I care that much about what this dude's talking about, because it doesn't look all that, like, It just doesn't look very. It's too fucking. Dude's too focused on details that are require other details to be like more cleared up before these details should even be bothered with. Like the Hubble's like this thing is fucking ridiculous. It's not even. It's just fucking ridiculous.
We didn't know if the universe was open or closed, if it had greater than or negative less than the critical density, which is what omega equals 1 means. And we didn't know the Hubble constant to better than 10% or 20% uncertainty. Now we know it to 2 or 3% uncertainty. And as you'll see, that's a critical ingredient. And so he hasn't updated his same argument. In other words, he's recycling the same argument that there's not enough time to grow. Even though in the time that he's written the book, 30 years later, we've refined the values of the input parameter.
What is he? Is he using this as if Lerner wrote it, or just because this person references it?
Of the Big Bang model that he's claiming are wrong. Now, he also talks about the spectral behavior.
It's really not important when he made the claims. He doesn't have to update it. I mean, it is a little, since he is throwing some articles out, this one here, maybe there's some reasonableness to it, but like, dude, it's fucking work to write a book, to edit a book, and edit shit. Like, it's literally work, and we don't have to fucking do it to still have merit in sharing our perspective in the ways that we choose. Because, like, maybe we choose those things for a reason. I, for one, cannot sit and write book after book and book, and because I just don't have fucking time for it. I would love to. And do things of that nature. I have a book I could edit, but just the thought is not appealing. That doesn't mean I don't have new shit to add to it that I've put in other places. But part of it is also like fucking. Then you're dealing with copyright and fucking all the bullshit. You're dealing with the hoops of bullshit people putting their little siphon in. Oh, did you pay me? Oh, did you did? Did you pay?
Behavior of the Big Bang, as measured by the Kobe satellite and others as well. And because of that, he has critique about not only the existence of the cosmic microwave background, but of its fluctuations as well. Oh wait, I'm not. Hold on. So I had an interloper. Graduate student came to bother me. So I got to wrap up in a few minutes because the graduate students are restless. So I do want to go through a couple more of the highlights. Okay. So he claims, again, he actually references his model, which is a form of plasma cosmology, that was first popularized by a professor at UC San Diego, where I am. His name was Alfvén. He won the Nobel Prize, and that's often used as a way to bolster the that he won it for plasma physics, and he claimed that plasma pervaded the cosmos and that there was no Big Bang. Now, why did Alfvén want to show there was no Big Bang? Alfvén wanted to show there was no Big Bang because he believed that was used as evidence by creationists to support the biblical narrative of the Genesis event. So that wasn't a purely motivated theory by Alfvén. He had ideas and that was 50 years ago. And so now we have Eric Lerner, Dr. Eric Lerner, recycling this model. Although, according to Ned Wright says that he abandoned the plasma cosmology in the response that he had to what Ned Wright had put out. So in other words, Lerner said in a response to Ned Wright, he said, I disavow this model. He says, Ned Wright, I'm just reading on. I'm going to switch back to the website.
I'll have to check out Eric Lerner's model. I'm sure I don't agree with his model. Although I'm sure he points out interesting things I haven't seen because that's what everyone does. That's how it is with every model I encounter. Unless they are literally like, you found it and I'm just reprinting it. Practically. I'll have to check his out though. It's
Remarkably, Lerner now disowns the Alvin Klein model, which plays such a big part in his book, and wants me to give the proper attribute.
because essentially, what I was getting at also was it doesn't actually matter if he's wrong about his model. That doesn't make his points about the Big Bang any less valid.
Attribution. He points out that he listed now, but now in the IAI paper, he's citing the.
I'm not saying they are valid. I'm just saying it doesn't make them any less valid if his model is invalid. If his points have validity regarding the Big Bang not happening because X, Y, Z.
The Alfvén paper. Okay, so he's talking about Nobel Prize winner Alfvén. So which is it? Do you disown it? Do you not disown it? Disavow it rather? And so I find this very, very I don't want to say misleading, but it's certainly kind of playing a distraction. Okay, so there it is. These scientific questions matter here and now. For decades, scientists, starting with physics Nobel laureate Hans Alfvén, have shown that the Big Bang hypothesis has thrown out the evolution of the cosmos that we observe today, like the CMB, can be explained using physical processes observed in the laboratory. Well, wouldn't that be great? Except that if the universe is not expanding, he cannot explain how the CMB exists at high redshifts. We observe the CMB. This is the most damning evidence, I think, about, and it didn't exist maybe as highly accurately as it does now, and the time that Ned Wright wrote his dismissal and disproof of the Lerner model. But instead, he did not know, and he does not cite the fact that if you measure the cosmic temperature of the microwave background, it changes as a function of redshift. And we measured that in different galaxies. How can you possibly explain that in a universe that's not expanding? He has no answer for that. In fact, he's dismissive of the CMB.
If you measure the CMB.
If you measure the cosmic temperature of the microwave background, it changes as a function of redshift. And we measured that.
Temperature changes as a function of redshift.
In different galaxies. How can you possibly explain that in a universe that's not expanding? He has no answer for that. In fact, he's dismissive of the CMB. He believes it's due to like some scattering effects, which have been disproven for decades. And again, I have not.
CMB is very confusing because it's very hard to pinpoint its origin. It's just kind of like out there. And so it could be near, it could be far, it could be large, it could be small, like it could be extremely massive, it could be beyond the edge, at the edge, it could, and far away, but not as like. It's very. There's just so many potentials around it that it's one of those things that kind of skipped, honestly. Like, I was like, okay. It even has a dipole in it, like, towards the great attractor. That's suggestive that there is a relationship to the great attractor in the cosmic microwave background because of the dipole relating to it. Let's see if I can find it. Dipole CMB images. These are even. This here, I think the great attractors here in the image are here. I think here. And then interestingly, these things, I say to you, physicist, what's your explanation for these? Why do these actually make a lot of sense if this is caused by gravitational redshift and then blue shift because there's an object here where the light from this direction is being redshifted, and then across it's not red or blue shift, and then because it's going this way, and then over here it's going towards the great attractor, so it's blue shifted. But then these are like gravitational lensing of a single object, I believe, to a point where they create like a image in there in the CMB. Although is this? I've never seen this one. Maybe it's correlated to our actual galaxy. I do not believe so. I don't believe this is not a remnant of our galaxy. I don't think I might be mistaken on that. I don't know. But those, I've never seen them even discussed. See, that's what science does. They explain the easy shit. My model, I explain how the Pacific Ocean is formed. Plate tectonics, Atlantic Ocean. Let's look at these oceans. Oceanic crustal bed, whatever. You know, you know. Age map. Let's say map. Yeah, yeah. Plate tectonics can explain how this formed, where they fucking fit like boom, boom, boom. You know, dupe. What I have to say provides an explanation for whatever the fuck happened out here. How's plate tectonics? What's it do? It just casually ignores this. It's like, plate tectonics over there too. Yeah, over there too. Yeah, we'll just kind of casually write it off, and over there too. Because we got right here as this sets our this sets the mood. We know plate tectonics. Same shit going on here.
Averse to tackling and to engaging with people who have alternative ideas. Don't forget, he has no answer for that. In fact, he's dismissive of the CMB. He believes it's due to like some scattering effects, which have been disproven for decades.
Yeah, this.
And again, I am not, averse to tackling and to engaging with people who have alternative ideas. Don't forget,
I've literally never heard him actually engage with me, except to like my comments, maybe.
probably the only person who's ever interviewed Giant Narlikar, who was Hoyle's best graduate student, probably, arguably. Fred Hoyle was the biggest proponent and opponent of the Big Bang. He gave the name Big Bang to the Big Bang model as an insult to the Big Bang because he thought it was so preposterous. And allegedly it's a British euphemism for orgasm or something. And so he wanted to humiliate people that believed in explosive, or because Hoyle also was against the creation Genesis 1-1 narrative. And Hoyle and Narlikar worked very closely together. And they worked together with Jeffrey Burbidge and Margaret Burbidge. And I sit in Jeffrey Burbidge's office at UC San Diego. So I've interviewed Jeffrey many times before he passed away 12 years ago. We chatted many times about cosmology. He went to his grave believing the Big Bang never happened, and so-called quasi-steady state cosmology, which has been utterly disproven, as I talk about in my book, Losing the Nobel Prize, my first book. But I interviewed Giant Narlikar. I love talking to him. And I think you can learn a lot from people, even if you disagree with them violently.
Who?
But I interviewed Giant Narlikar. I love talking to him. And I think you can learn a lot from people, even if you disagree with them violently about their particular ideas. But why are they doing this? What is this about? Why are they trying to do this? And that's my goal. I want to teach you to look at these things. So the last thing I want to talk about, besides, so I talked about...
Why are they? He's pretty much saying it's like a fucking attention grab or something, rather than because they sincerely actually understand that the Big Bang did not happen and are trying to get through to you, and they're not gonna fucking stop. It's gonna be you who stops believing the Big Bang because it didn't fucking happen. That's why. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because they want attention, though.
How does he explain the CMB? He doesn't. There's another thing that he can't explain. In a universe that has no expansion and everything is moving gravitationally, why do we see some galaxies getting blue shifted? Why are they getting gravitationally attracted to us? How does he explain general relativity, where if you have any mass density, the universe cannot be static. It cannot be unevolving. He doesn't have a good explanation. So he has to come up with all these epicycles.
Relativity. You mean the approximation? It's just classical, infinite, ever larger, ever smaller particles, all of which are divisible just like the Earth. It's pretty much that simple. That explains everything if you really think it through.
model. And it's not the first time this has ever happened. It's the first time because of the rise of Twitter and the internet that I'll get emails and messages from all over the world asking about this. How does he explain that? How does he explain the evolution of the redshift dependence of the CMB in a universe that's not expanded? How does he explain the changing Hubble constant due to the presumed evolution of the universe during expansion? How does he explain that that there existence of dark energy, which we measure not only from supernovae, but we measure it from the CMB alone? And that is left unexplained. The last thing I want to conclude with is something you always need to do, and you need to look and, again, consider the source. What is their motivation? Why are they writing this? And so I just want to conclude with this. I'll look through a couple.
What is this shit? This is straight fucking Alex Jones trial type of fucking propaganda. Why are they writing this? Clearly, they just want attention, and they certainly are not accurate in anything they say. Never listen to them. Never listen to them. They'll go to the quarantine camps soon enough. Don't you listen to them. Put your head in the sand, and they'll go away. I'll teach you how to ignore them. I'm very, very.
Questions, and then I have to leave. Okay, so the process of plasma filament.
Oh, sorry about that then.
Fermentation. Now we're getting to the good stuff. This is probably the last thing. To use fusion energy, the power that drives the universe and gives light to the sun. This is great. And the start. We need to develop and drive that cosmic energy.
It's fucking 3 a.m. What am I doing?
Evolution.
I'm just trying to finish.
Just as the Wright brothers developed the airplane by studying how birds control their flight. I don't know that that's exactly how they did it. I think Leonardo da Vinci looked at birds controlling their flight. So today we can only control ultron plasma where fusion reactions occur by studying how plasmas behave at all scales in the cosmos. We need to imitate nature, not try to fight it. We at LPP Fusion have been applying that knowledge concretely. So now he starts getting into funding of these processes. The scale of the sun, the work on larger scales, has been hobbled by the straitjacket of the Big Bang hypothesis, which has diverted hundreds or thousands of talented researchers into futile calculations of imaginary entities like dark matter, dark energy, that have invented the prop up of failing.
Yeah, dude, it's an actual inefficiency when we follow a false hypothesis beyond the point of reason. Literally, Occam's razor already fucking disproved it.
Theory. So cosmology can emerge from this crisis once it's established, recognize that the Big Bang never happened. So if you click on this link, now you come to where he's published his papers. When he talks about he's published these papers and so forth, they only appear on his website. They're not published in journal. Now he's saying there's censorship. Now, to censor an article is an incredibly difficult thing. You have to have.
They only appear on his website. Another common practice of not just fucking listening. I'll show you how to filter out any possible viewpoint other than your own. You will surely. Like, what the fuck?
Have multiple referees that would agree and collaborate and collude.
I know you guys think that having these fucking peer review is not elitist bullshit, but it fucking is. And it literally blocks out people. And what do? We go and just do it anyway. And what happens? Oh, it's not even published. So, rather than listening to what they have to say and acknowledging, look at that. They said fuck you to your system and went about it their own way. Good. Rather than seeing that, being like, they didn't play by the rules. We can't trust them. They don't play by the rules. It's very concerning when they don't play by the rules.
And I like the website, by the way. Eric, if you're watching, congratulations on this website. It's really cool animation.
After shitting on him for this whole video, I guess same, dude. I fucking did the same. Hugs.
Take it from me. I don't know anything about your fusion processes, but I dislike the kind of conflation again of the universe.
Oh my god.
And the incorrectness of the Big Bang Theory with now we need more funding for the type of fusion research that I'm doing. I think that smacks of a conflict of interest.
I mean, maybe what he's saying is not the best proposal, but that doesn't change the fact of the matter. The Big Bang did not happen, as he said. And thank you for pointing that out, Eric. I'll take it from here if anyone wants. Pardon me, not to be rude. When you realize that I will take it from here.
personally. And while it might be noble, and there might be, in other words, you might be able to say, well, people are not funding my cosmic researches, and they're not funding my fusion research. Therefore, I'm being censored and ostracized at the highest levels. To get ostracized from journal articles, almost impossible. He's talking about not being allowed to publish. I think those are kind of very bold statements. He has published before in some journal articles, as he mentioned.
Why is that bold? Dude, it's fucking hoops. It's fucking. What does it do? It gives the journal prestige. Now they got a fucking prestige because they siphoned energy off of the writers. It's not fuck you, system. Not you, but system. It's fucking stupid. It's not thought through. So when people do it their own way, it shouldn't be a thing to be concerned about. It should just be like, wow, someone thinking differently. Good.
I don't think that there's
And a new exposure to a new viewpoint. That's just different.
Much point. Now, I looked through the articles. They're 60 pages long.
Not invalid different, just fucking different based in also evidence. Sometimes that happens.
And that brings me to the final point. Again, quoting from Carl Sagan, I think, or I don't even know who it's from. But it takes 10 times as much energy to refute. I don't want to say any bad words, okay, guys? Fill in, the blank here. To refute BS than it does to produce. I'm not calling him BS. I think he's probably very knowledgeable about science. This is what
10 times as much energy to refute than produce. He's just slanderous right now, riding the fucking wave of like certainty that payment and societal support and all the things give. But really, it's kind of slanderous and rude and makes me fucking realize he feels that way about my work. And the reality is I found the theory of everything, and it's people behaving in that way that have stopped it from being noticed. And now the world's burning as everyone's getting injected with fucking genocidal toxins. You guys enjoy your fucking decisions, I guess. I didn't make them.
I find often that people are like so down the rabbit hole. They haven't really collaborated. They haven't been involved in university settings. They're trying
because they're fucking ostracized and belittled and marginalized and treated like their ideas are not. Literally, you don't know the person is what happens. Like, oh, if someone's proposing an idea that's different, they must be stupid. They must be XYZ. They must be these things. It's literally just a lack of even knowing them and a educated, indoctrinated certainty that's not warranted.
Trying to come out of left field using this argument
that
work for
fucking warranted. You guys are not being reasonable. You have explanations, but that doesn't make them right. It's like if it's literally tortoise or the hare. You guys are fucking rushing ahead. Redshift caused by expansion. Chill out. It's not, though.
Einstein.
Because Big Bang didn't fucking happen. That's just wrong. Redshift is caused by gravity. You missed a step. See how order of operations influences things to the point where, like, if you miss a step, the solution arrived at is just simply wrong. I know I'm probably missing a step, a big one too. You guys laughing about it like, haha. But
for me, and so I wanted to just
until I realize that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing what it seems is what I'm told to do.
Alert you when you see articles like this. Go through the links. Take them seriously. Take Eric. Take people like him seriously. He will be debating, one of the foremost cosmologists in the world, Priya Nagarajan, at How the Light Gets In festival. I hope that'll be great. I hope they'll get a good turnout. And I hope maybe she can, even substantiate more with what I am talking about.
What about people who wrote entire books, have entire podcasts, have entire YouTube channels, have so much fucking content that it is ridiculous to be ignored. What about them? Is it, do they, I mean, that just don't matter. You guys are fucking ridiculous. I'm just gonna end this here because I don't think my opinion actually fucking matters, and it's 3:20 in the morning here. I'm here fucking busting my ass, trying to fucking, he just wants, what is his motivation? You guys are fucking ridiculous. Big Bang did not happen. That's all I got to say. I'm ending here. I know I'm a few minutes early there. I usually finish, but it's fucking ridiculous. I'm gonna go smoke this at 3:20 in the morning. But it's better than sitting here talking to myself still and being like, why the fuck? Is it because I curse and do fucking things you don't like? Well, too bad.